Hello guys and welcome to another update from Israel. So yesterday, today and the following days will be very emotional in Israel because we are seeing a little bit of light in this very, very dark time in Israel. The people that were taken to Gaza are finally being released. Of course, not all of them, and we'll talk about that. And there are many controversies with the release of those hostages that I will mention in this episode. Yesterday, the major news networks were all looking and commenting the exchange of people between Hamas and Israel. And the amount of hypocrisy that I heard yesterday is just mind-blowing, and we'll talk about this. It's just disgusting how the media are presenting this whole situation. And we are seeing why Europe is struggling, and we're seeing why America is struggling. It's because of this horrible double standards that are presented in the media is just mind-blowing. It's just catastrophic. But let's talk about the facts, what happened yesterday. So it must be said that Hamas was forced to finally start talking and negotiating. Hamas only understands one language, and that is sheer power, sheer strength, and fear. Hamas did not start talking to Israel because they're nice people. No, they started talking because they realized that they are in danger. The advances of the Israeli army started to threaten the existence of Hamas, and that's why they started talking. They went and sat at the negotiation table. So let's look at the situation in Gaza from a strategic and military point of view. Israel army has surrounded the Gaza city and made additional gains in the northern part of Gaza and started entering a very important strategically area called Jabalia. So Israel was starting to threaten Hamas operational centers. Here you can see the Israeli army entering this very important neighborhood for Hamas. The advances of the Israeli army were rapid and strategically very important because they were starting to threaten the existence of Hamas in the northern part of Gaza. So this is the context why now Hamas started to negotiate, because they were threatened. It's not because of foreign politicians, of, European Union or America, but it's because of the success of the Israeli army that started actually threatening the very existence of Hamas. And this is the only way you can talk to Hamas, using power. So let's now talk about the exchange of people between Israel and Hamas. So the overall deal was that Israel will release 150 Palestinian prisoners and Hamas will release the 50 hostages that they have captured on October the 7th. So we see the first injustice here, because for every Israeli, Israel needs to release 3 Palestinians. So it's not equal. But that's not the first time Israel is doing that. In the past, Israel was releasing 1,000 people for just one Israeli that was captured. This is how much Israel values its citizens' life. So yesterday was the first stage of this exchange. So on October 24th, Israel released 24 women and 15 teenage boys, and Hamas released 9 women and 4 children. The Israeli hostages were given to the Red Cross that first transported them to Egypt, and then they went to cross the border with Israel. From the Israeli border, they were taken to the military base of Hatzreim, where they were transported by a helicopter to Rabin Medical Center in Petah Tikva near Tel Aviv. Now, this process will be repeated until we will reach the number of 150 Palestinians and 50 Israelis that will be released. So yesterday, as this was happening, all the major broadcast news were reporting on this important event. But the reporting was so terrible and so far from the reality that I just must comment on it. So those are the pictures showing you a Red Cross convoy going from Gaza to Egypt. And all the reporters were just commenting, how the people of Gaza, and one specific news network said even, the children of Gaza are rejoicing that the hostages are being released. But I see a totally different picture here. The people were just standing there shouting towards those people that went through a horrible trauma. They were just jumping even on the cars and shouting. How would you feel? How would you feel in that situation where a mob was coming towards you and just, smashing their hands on the car? The cars had problems going through, and the media was just reporting, people are rejoicing. It's so hypocritical. Those people were terrified. They were captured by Hamas, and they weren't sure if they're gonna go through this border. And the media just blatantly said, the children of Gaza are rejoicing. I don't see any children here. I see only young men who are shouting towards those terrified hostages. Now, the second disturbing element was that it was not an equal exchange. And the media tried to portray that women and children from Israel are released, and at the same time, the Palestinian women and children are released. But it's simply not true. So the media tried to show you something that is black and say to you blindly that it is white. And I love the exchange between a Sky News reporter and Mark Regev, who destroys this reporter by proving to her the facts and showing how hypocritical they are. Now, I can't show you this clip because of the copyright, but if you go to my Twitter account, you can see this exchange, and I highly recommend it because it shows you how hypocritical the media are. And when you show them the truth, they don't know how to respond. They're so shocked that somebody sees the truth. And this was live, so they couldn't just eliminate it. They invited Mark Regev, and he just said what is happening, just plainly saying the facts. And this was a problem for the media. And whatever they tell you, you can't put an equal sign between children and women, Holocaust survivors, and criminals that attempted murder or killed somebody. So Israel not only released more people, but also released criminals so that Hamas would release innocent women and children. This is a sacrifice, but Israel is willing to pay it because in Israel, life is valued. And what do Palestinians do? I will show you something shocking now. So yesterday, 2 Palestinians were killed, and obviously I'm not going to show you this material because it's very brutal. If you really want to see it, go to my Twitter account and you can see it there. But be careful because it's very, very graphic. So yesterday, 2 Palestinians were killed because they were accused of being spies for Israel. And what they did, the mob, they first hanged the person, killing him, and then they just mutilated his body. I will not go into details because it's horrible what they did. But basically, this is what Israel is fighting against. It's not like the same kind of people, the same kind of civilization. It's a totally different world where you have a civilization, some kind of rules, and total brutality, total aggression, something that you can't reason with. So, on one side you have this, and on the other side you have Israel, who is doing everything to save human lives, even in a war area. And Israel has been opening those humanitarian zones and corridors, even though it's not good from a strategic point of view. Additionally, just today, Israel allowed the passage of 200 trucks with supplies to Gaza, something that also is not reported by the media. And even though there is a ceasefire in Gaza, there are still threats from the north. Lebanon is very active in launching many rockets towards Israel, and only thanks to the Iron Dome that a lot of those rockets are shut down. So yesterday was a good day. Families were reunited, but there are still a lot of Israelis that are kept hostage by a terrible organization called Hamas. And Israel cannot stop until it will be sure that every one of them will be released. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much to all the patrons, especially that support the channel. Thank you for all of you that pray for Israel. We really, really need it, especially in the times when the support for Israel is decreasing very dramatically and Israel is feeling like we're alone, like the Jewish people around the world are alone, and they are the only one who can fight this evil. So thank you to all of you who have been praying, for your very encouraging comments on the channel. This has been really, really wonderful. And if you would like to support the channel, if you think that my work is valuable, you can do that through Patreon. I will leave, as usually, the link to the Patreon page in the description of this video. Have a good evening. Shalom.